So tonight we are going to hear from a lot of great organizations and individuals who have been doing work eliminating hate for quite a while. In some cases, you may be familiar with the work that they're doing. In other cases, such as myself over the last month, I've learned that there are quite a few groups doing great work to eliminate hate, to stop violence. Unfortunately, it's being done in their own communities. And so one of my desires tonight is that we come together not as a single organization. As my football coach says, all you can do with that is poke somebody in the eye or put it in the nose. What I want to be able to do is come together with all of those organizations, come together and make a mighty fist so we can wall up hate and get it eliminated out of our community. So that's what this evening is going to be all about as we move forward in that.
And we are very glad to be very inclusive at all levels. And we got part of a project that was developed by the public library, the California Public Library, to stop the hate. And we are part of this project, and we have been publishing a lot of articles about this topic.
Just seeing the number of community members from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different organizations coming together under a theme of stopping hate, just really warms my heart to know that we have that kind of community here in Fresno, like we have in Sacramento, like we have in other cities across the district that I'm responsible for. With respect to hate crime enforcement, we definitely have a role, right? We prosecute crimes of all types. There are federal statutes that define hate crimes and cover hate crimes for prosecution in federal courts. Generally, a good thumbnail definition is a hate crime is a crime that involves bias. Hate crimes target the community, not just the individual. That's why they're so bad, and that's why we place such a high priority on them. Many times, hate crimes are committed by individuals against people they don't even know. And it's not the victim that they're trying to target, it's the group, whatever that group is, whether it's based on religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, national origin, whatever it is, they're targeting a group. And the message is, you don't belong here. Well, that's not the case in the United States, because we all belong here, and we all need to stand up against it.
It's really good to be here today in community with you all. My name is Efrain Boteo Cisneros. I'm a community outreach specialist in the Office of CARE. We have community outreach specialists regionally throughout the state. My region specifically is in Sacramento and the Central Valley, stretching all the way to Kern County. So it's a really big region, but nonetheless, Fresno has a really big place in my heart because this is actually my hometown. I was born and raised here, born on the east side. I went to Roosevelt High School and graduated there in 2015. So shout out to all my Rough Riders. I know Dr. Miller is one. So any other former Rough Riders, shout out to y'all.
So a hate crime is a crime against a person, group, or property motivated by the victim's real or perceived protected social group. You may be a victim of a hate crime if you've been targeted because of your actual or perceived 1, disability, 2, gender, 3, nationality, 4, race or ethnicity, 5, religion, 6, sexual orientation, and 7, association with a person or group with one or more of these actual or perceived characteristics. Hate crimes are serious crimes that may result in imprisonment or jail time. So to be reported as a hate crime, as the U.S. Attorney's Office said, the incident must contain the following elements: 1, a criminal act or an attempted criminal act, and a biased motivation against a protected characteristic. So if you've been a victim of a hate crime, there are a number of things that you should do. Again, contact your local law enforcement agency right away, get medical attention if it's needed, write down anything that you can remember about anything that was said, make notes about any other facts that you are able to at the time. Save all evidence, and if it's safe, wait until law enforcement arrives and takes photos. Get the names, addresses, phone numbers, emails of other victims and witnesses if you can, and try to get a description from any eyewitness of the criminal or the vehicle, and contact community organizations in your area that respond to hate crimes. And you'll hear from some of those organizations here locally today.
I appreciate hearing from the U.S. Attorney, from the Department of Justice. What we heard this evening is a real willingness and understanding of the significance of the attempts to undermine our community by hate crimes, and a willingness on behalf of law enforcement to enforce the laws that make hate crimes unlawful. And for many years, there was no such thing as a hate crime. So this is an improvement. 30% increase last year in prosecutions for hate crimes. That's great. But we also know that there is no way that law enforcement agencies, that attorneys general or the Department of Justice can make us safe from people who have hate in their hearts and intend to act on that. We're going to have to rely on ourselves and each other. And so I'm here to talk about the less official ways of combating hate crime and hate in our communities. So probably the most important way we protect ourselves and each other is through mutual support and solidarity. We are not one community. People talk about the community as if it's a thing. It's not a thing. We're like a ton of communities. And we've got some ways that we share values, and that's probably the most important thing, is our commitment to civil discourse and to the safety of each other and to protect each other. That's the most important thing that we have going for us. That's what keeps us safe every day. So we have to find ways to fortify and reinforce and strengthen and enact that mutual support.
Good evening. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Mandeep Singh. I get to actually share a little bit about the work we're doing with the Jukata movement. We've been active here in Fresno. We were founded here in Fresno over 20 years ago. And while for many of you, some of these names may not resonate, but for many of us, especially here in California, when we talk about Stop the Hate, we think of Gurmeet Singh Agrawal. We think of Surinder Singh, both of whom were murdered in Elk Grove. We think of Paramjeet Singh, who was murdered in Tracy. Even locally here, we think of Baba Pyara Singh or even Amrik Singh Bug, both of whom were just going about their daily business. Amrik Singh Bug was an agricultural farm worker waiting to get picked up when he was brutally attacked. And so this topic is not something new within the Sikh community. It's not something new within all of our different communities. We think of inter-community, where we can work across generations. There's no way we can do this alone.
My name is Sukaina Hussain. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of CAIR. CAIR, C-A-I-R, is the Council on American Islamic Relations, as we heard from Dr. Miller. We are the largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization in the country. In the state of California, we have 5 chapters, and our office is part of the Sacramento Valley Central California region of CAIR in the state of California. We do work that protects civil rights and liberties. So if you or your family members or people you know have faced the racism and the hate crimes and the discrimination we've been talking about, we provide legal services. We provide immigration legal services. We do a lot of policy advocacy work, like many organizations here, and as patients referred to earlier, to promote policies rooted in justice for all of our communities. We do a lot of work with organizing and youth development, and also civic engagement.
My name is Jess Fitzpatrick. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I identify as a queer trans man. I'm a community outreach educator at the Fresno EOC LGBTQ+ Resource Center. I've also been an activist in the LGBT community for over 15 years. And when I think about what it means to commit to stopping hate, I realize that that's never something I've ever had in my vocabulary. What I've committed myself to has been about dealing with the anger, the grief, and the righteous fury of the injustices that I've seen in Fresno when it comes to the disrespect and disregard of my community. As a trans man, as a part of the gay community. When hate has either come out of people's mouths, whether it's from someone like the KKK or the Proud Boys, or even an elected official, or a ex-police officer, then it's about not only how our community responds, but how people who call themselves allies also respond.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Washington, and I'm a law pathway student at Fresno State College. And my question is, so what do you think is the next legislative step or policy step to stop hate within our community?
You know, honestly, speaking from behalf of the Asian community, right, the API community, I just feel that as a community, as we can see, the work that I do, there isn't a lot of report putting into legislation or being recorded. And so it's really hard for me to do the work when there's no case that is being recorded. And so I feel that as a community or as an API member, I think one of the things is that we need to do a better job of empowering, encouraging our community to know and understand how to report. And a lot of time, my community, it's that they're afraid to report because of the retaliation. It could be my neighbor, it could be whatever, and it's the trusting the authority as well. Because coming from a country where you've been suppressed through the authority, coming to here, we have to change the mindset of switching that the authority are there to protect us and to support us. It's a way of how do we communicate to make sure that they understand that. So I feel like, you know, having the data to support, whether if that should, and even the disaggregated data. I have to say that, you know, I've been doing advocacy for a long time, but whether it's in education, whether it's in crime, whatever it is, it's always Asian. But within Asian, there's so many suffering within that is, you know, that needed that data to be disaggregated. Whether you're a Hmong, you're a Lao, you're Cambodian, whatever. Because our struggle may be similar, but our needs are different. And the support that we need may be different. We need to understand each other, and for me to be able to be comfortable in, you know, whether it's in a church, you know, or whether it's in a temple. I need to be able to go into those comfortable, go to those very hard space for me to be in and learn how I can be a better ambassador to support my community and bring my community to those uncomfortable places as well.